aka Geeks.
Hey everybody, welcome to AKA Geeks and our review of Uncharted, A Thief's End. I'm here with Brenden, my man Brenden. Say hello to everybody, please.
Hello, everybody, please.
There we go, that's what I'm talking about. We have our, are you here with us today, Lynn? Lynn's here with us today as well, but he's not going to talk. He's just manning the boards. Alright, so Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. This is the fourth and the final in the series of Uncharted that they state. That could change, we don't know. But let's get into some of the things we thought about it, some positive, negatives, and all the stuff that's in between. Brenden, what are your first positive thoughts of the game? What stands out to you?
It was Uncharted.
Uncharted, and I think that means that you get very positive things about it.
For the most part.
Okay. So, what did you think of his brother, Sam Drake? What did you think of his character voiced by Troy Baker?
He was a douche.
Yeah.
Definite douche. That I did like. They had a very good relationship, like dynamic. It felt like it was his actual older brother. Because I have, like, granted, I don't do adventures. My brother doesn't do adventures, but that's kind of if were I to do adventures, and were my brother and I to do adventures, that's the kind of shit that he would pull. So I kind of identify with that a little bit. I didn't realize it was him for the most part.
Yeah, he did a good job of being able to disguise his voice to fit the character. I thought, and he did come off like a bit of a little. He's centered on himself, like a little too much. Doing a few decisions in the game that he made that almost hurt everybody as a whole and benefited himself because he wanted that glory that he's seen his brother have. But they did a good job with that, of being able to have that dynamic still, even with that hanging over him.
How spoilery are we being?
I say we be all spoiler. Since this is a group discussion, I don't mind doing the spoilers. A good relationship with his brother. Troy Baker did a good job with the voice. Anything else that stands out to you? Anything about Rafe, the villain? How did you feel about him as a villain compared to the other villains in the other games?
He was the least impressive out of all of them. Like, I kind of felt like he was really non-existent until the end. I didn't see him, like, pulling any strings or really what his end game was. Like, it felt like it changed a bunch. I will say I didn't see Sam's twist coming. I did think that was really well done. I would not have guessed that.
Are you talking about the twist at the very end?
That he made it all up.
Oh, okay, that part. Okay.
Yeah, that he made it all up, that he wasn't, the drug dealer, because they kind of played it off like it was fact. Like, that's how they portray it in the game. Now, granted, I get it, because they were, that's how he'd be telling the story, and that's how you'd see it happen. But, yeah, I definitely did not see that coming. I thought the game closed, it was really nice. Like, the epilogue was really unexpected. I didn't expect them to go in the kid direction. Spoiler alert, they have a kid.
Did you beat the score on the game at the end?
Oh, no.
No,
I freaking suck at Crash Bandicoot.
That was my first time ever playing Crash Bandicoot.
I played it a couple times, but I kind of felt like when he was like, wait, how do you, like, what do you do? Like, I felt stupid. Like, how do I play this? And I'm like, why is he running backwards? This doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, oh, right, that's friggin' how the game went. I was embarrassed how quickly I died the first time. I'm glad they let me redeem myself at the end. Still didn't do that great. It doesn't make me want to play the remasters, though, because it wasn't fun.
Yeah. I just thought it was cool that they put something like that in there that has a definite connection. So that was really cool.
Hey, I can tell you, I didn't see the painting anywhere that they got stolen.
Oh yeah, I don't recall.
I don't remember seeing that anywhere.
Do you think that was in the beach house?
I don't know. It wasn't that big a deal, so.
They did really good in this game, just like all the other Uncharted games, with storytelling, with making everything move along pretty seamlessly. I thought the graphics looked good comparative to going in and out of a CGI cutscene, whatever it was. Some of the stuff looked amazing. I remember the part when he first meets Nadine in that room, and they start fighting upstairs, and that was like, I think that was one of the first. Like pure cutscenes that they had, and I was just like, it transitioned very well. And then also when they were in the cave with Nadine, the transition with the lighting effects, it looked amazing. I was really, really astonished with how good the game looked. Really, really tickled my fancy with that stuff. The villain in this one, Rafe, I liked the fact that it didn't depend on like fantasy elements. Like the what were they, like the abominable snowman dudes, and that were jumping around. Remember, they were jumping like 30 feet in number two, three. Yeah. Number two, they were just jumping around for no reason, but they're humans. And then in number three, they kind of got away from that kind of stuff, but they still had a little bit of it at the end with the drugs. But in this one, I like that they kind of got all the way away from that, and they didn't have to depend on the sci-fi, that whole fantasy, like mystic elements. I was happy with that. Rafe, he could have been good. I don't think he was super impactful, but it almost seemed like, how you're saying he didn't pull any strings? Like, he was almost always there, but every time it was almost like...
He didn't really do anything.
Well, yeah, and he was just one step ahead of him because the game had to put him one step ahead of you. Almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was no you couldn't see that he is actually a quality treasure hunter, or that could figure this out. He couldn't figure it out for, what was it, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? But now all of a sudden he's beating them and everything. That was kind of little not entirely impactful for me. Were there any negatives? You said that there were some negatives. So tell me what your negatives were. I want to find out if maybe in this is the direction where we disagree.
It didn't do anything new. Like, I don't want to say the traversing, but like the mechanics, it didn't add anything. Like, it got jumping from platform to platform. It got old. Like, I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm jumping along. Da, da, da. It just, and they even made jokes about it. Like, when they were jumping together, he makes this huge jump, and he's like, "How did that not rip your arm off?" And I'm like, because it's not real. You can't do some of the now, granted, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff. The distances they're jumping without any repercussions whatsoever. It was very well done, but it was same old, same old. They played it very safe.
Very safe, yeah. It wasn't astonishing, like you said. Like, it was a really good game. It's getting good ratings, good grades out there, and I don't think it's any lesser, but it wasn't something. And people explain it from like number 1 to number 2. The jump in that was so big. You're going from an older console to a newer console, so the jump is amazing. But even then, going to 3, I still thought 3 was amazing, and this one was really great, but still not as. It didn't hit me as hard as the other 2.
No, see, 3 for me was the beginning of the end, because with 1 it was I enjoyed it. 2, it was like action, a little bit of exploring, action. It was nonstop, stuff's moving, stuff's going on, stuff's happening. I'm like, yeah, I like this. I'm cool. And then the third one, like that scene in the desert where you're just like, okay, I get it. He's delirious. Say 12 hours later, and then go to I don't have to keep resetting and falling asleep.
Yeah.
What? Where am I? Oh, I'm still in sand. Okay. Oh, what? I'm still in sand. Oh, okay. Like, yeah. It was like, I'm like, come on, man, let's go. Yeah. And everybody that I've talked to at that part, they're like, yeah, I get it, let's go. This had some of that. It was more work for me to want to get to the end to find out what happened. Like, that's why I kept playing. I didn't keep playing for, the next, set piece. I didn't play for the car chase. I played to find out what was going to happen. I did like how it was grounded in reality with the pirates, and that kept me going. Like, oh, I like this, lore of them. This one I actually enjoy getting the collectibles, because it gives me I still have the story being told to me, and I'm getting this extra stuff as I'm going along. Like, I would still, for the most part, get the story if I don't pick up any of the collectibles. But it was a good enough story to make me want to go searching for stuff to further it along. The other thing I didn't like was the combat. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, I'm not as good as I used to be, but if I didn't have auto aim, I don't know how the fuck people finish that game, because there's times where there's freaking enemies like everywhere. Like once you got to the city and you're in like the houses and the boats and they're like half in water and they're just freaking chucking bombs and they're coming from. If I wasn't playing on normal with auto aim, I would never finish that game. Yes, I know, get good, but it comes to a point where it's just pulled me out of the game to where I'm just like, wouldn't happen. This guy would be dead in 10 seconds. I don't care who he is. It definitely, I don't want to say worse than last time, but combat was not the strong suit. I don't know why people like the combat in this game.
It was heavier in the combat areas than it usually was. I don't know if this is a negative per se in my opinion of the game or as a whole. What I noticed was a lot of it was kind of directed with the CGI stuff. It was kind of pushed along for you, and the exploring things weren't as major as they were. The puzzles weren't as big as they used to be. I only remember a couple puzzles. I remember the buckets puzzle, and I remember the puzzle with the rings, and that's all I remember. Do you remember any other puzzles? I mean, obviously, I don't remember any anymore.
No, I remember the stepping puzzle where you had to...
Okay, yeah. The Indiana Jones one?
Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't a lot of... Like, I really didn't have to think that much with the puzzles. It's not like the new Tomb Raider puzzle. Wait, what? Like, I actually have to sit and, like, draw stuff out and, you know, like, write stuff, which I like doing that. I don't mind pausing the game for that. But it kind of just felt like they were there to slow me down a little bit so they can make the...
That's what I'm kind of getting at with the game as a whole. It feels like they're pushing you along with the story, trying to make sure that the story is out there for you to feel, to get, but they're doing a lot of that with the CGI or the automated stuff or the quick time events, and less playthrough time for you to explore. But also, when you do have playthrough, other than driving around when you're on the island and going through the mud with the 4x4, where there's just very sparse little encounters, a lot of the encounters are big, heavy, freaking things that don't really match with the rest of the storytelling. So that takes me to the next point that I wanted to make, that you started talking about set pieces. Do you have any set pieces in this that really caught your eye? Because there's usually one or two or more in every single one of these games.
I guess for me it was the last city where like the house where all the pirates ended up killing each other, like poisoning each other. That whole like going through the houses, I was just looking around. I'm like, this is like a really, really cool. It's been untouched, and you know, it's plants. You know, it was history and current like brought together there. But there wasn't anything like for like the train sequence in the second one. There was nothing really where I literally stopped and was like, damn, this is freaking amazing. The waterfall was cool when you had to do the Jeep puzzle, you know, climbing up there. But yeah, overall, I'd have to say the final pirate city. It was really, really cool.
I think you're right on the nose where I'm at, dude. Set pieces in this game were few and far between, and when they tried to have them, they weren't as big as the last few games. But I think the settings and how beautiful the game looked, like when you're in the 4x4, when there was a couple times where I got up onto the little temple things or whatever, just looked around and like, wow, this is beautiful. You know, I took a screenshot here and there just to share, to get people looking at the game, but it wasn't like the train. It wasn't like the massive ship graveyard in 3. You know, there was nothing like that for me in this game. And so I don't know if that was a concerted effort on their part, or maybe they're running out of ideas, or they just wanted to slow it down in this game and give you more story.
I think that's what they focused on more, was the relationships and going over his backstory and seeing him as a kid and all that stuff. One thing I did like, and it made me appreciate the graphics and how far we've come. I don't know if you messed with the graphic settings after you finished the game.
A little bit.
I played that first level in 8-bit. Holy shit, it's so hard. Because in the game, you're looking for really, really tiny handholds and footholds. And when that tiny handhold is like a giant-ass pixel next to a slightly different colored giant-ass pixel, you're just like, where the fuck do I jump? And then you jump into like, a brown cliff, and you're like, where am I? Where's the cliff, and where's Nathan?
Yeah.
Like, and then I also turned on like the 8-bit sound, and it was, and then like, this blob moves here. I put on the high pitched stuff, and I made it look like Borderlands. It was really fun playing.
The cell shaded one looks good. The
Yeah,
cell shaded one looks good. I bought as many of them as I can, and I played around with looking at the graphics of them, but I didn't go into any of them. But that's cool to hear about, because that's really nice. That's real fun that they took the time to do that. However they do that, however much time it takes. Maybe that's why it was delayed 2 weeks at the end, putting in that 8-bit graphics. Now, I don't know. Is there anything else that you have specifically you want to go into, or do you want to just go into overall impressions of the game and thoughts of the game?
Overall, there's nothing really else I want to nitpick.
All right. So overall, since we didn't have any disagreements, I was wondering what you thought we were going to disagree.
No, I don't know. I just like controversy. I always say shit like that.
All right. So overall, Brenden, what did you feel about the game? What would you give this game on a grading scale?
It was a nice send-off. If I'm going purely off of it being an Uncharted, I'd give it an A. It did what it was said it was going to do, but as an overall game, I'd give it like a B-. Very, very beautiful. I see a lot of effort put into it. I'm not going to play it again. Even though they said there's actual story DLC coming out, I don't care. I don't want another one. I'll tell you that. Uncharted needs to stop.
So you're saying you wouldn't play it again, and you give it about a B, or what did you say, B-?
B- overall. It's hard to grade it, like, because there's certain it looks amazing. Yes, there was nothing that blew me away, because I'm so used to seeing that beautiful, they know how to, do graphics. They know how to make a beautiful set piece, a beautiful atmosphere. But it didn't go above it. They're not like, hey, look what we've managed to do. No, they said, oh yeah, there's a lot of Radiant stuff where people will react. Yeah, there was a lot of that, and it was really cool watching him, move his way around people and that kind of stuff. But I'm like, that's nice, but
we've seen it before.
You already do that. That's what I expect from you. So it's definitely hard to grade. I don't want to give it a bad grade. It was not a bad game. It was a good, fun. I had fun playing it despite all the nitpicky stuff. I'm going to go B.
I think that's where I'm at. Most of my qualms with the game are, I guess you could be considered nitpicky, and that's basing this because we played the previous games, and we know how high and quality the previous games are. This one's still great quality, amazing quality, because it's in that line of Uncharted games. Is it better than the first, number 2, number 3, in my opinion, the two bests? No, it's not. It's right below those. And I haven't finished 1, but I played enough of it to know that I liked this better than what I liked in 1. So for me, it's probably about a B+. It's a B+ for me. I won't be playing it anytime soon, but I will play it again. But it'll have to be in a downtime, which it seems that every year we have less and less downtime in between games. It seems like more and more often we're getting quality game. So it's going to be tough to see what fits in.
I'll probably play it on the PS5's Uncharted HD collection or UHD collection.
UHD, pure 4K, true 4K. Yeah, 1080. Yeah, it's a good, really, really good game. It's a great way to end the series, in my opinion. It's not controversial in the way that it ended the game and the way it ended the series. It kind of wraps things up with a nice little bow with the daughter and kind of talking about what happened throughout their lives. So it's nice. That does leave it open for sequels, if you ask me, because it can always be story time, and Nathan Drake comes out of nowhere on another mission, maybe a smaller scale mission, but it could always be story time. She knows stuff. It seems like wasn't she on the cover of the magazine that she picked up? Yeah. She's a little adventurer, just like her grandmother. Her grandmother was a little adventurer as well. There you guys have it. Brendan's and our thoughts about Uncharted for A Thief's End. Based on our reviews, our grades, you guys should go out and play it if you have a PS4. It definitely adds to the series, and we both think you'll enjoy it, but it is more of the same, and that can be a detrimental thing in somebody's opinion, or it can be just a good thing in someone's opinion. Depends on what you look at it for. Brendan, anything else to say goodbye?
What?
Anything else to say goodbye about? Anything else?
No. Bye?
Goodbye? I don't know. I'm just anything else to talk about?
Say goodbye with something else.
Alrighty. All right, so that's it for us, you guys. Check out more of our reviews. Eddie's got one going up on WWE 2K15, or he already did that one, and 2K16. Gave us a little sneak peek of that in our podcast this last week. Lynn just uploaded some unboxings. Check those out. Remember to check us out on iTunes and Google Play to get our podcast that's weekly. That's the hot thing right now. You guys are selling like hotcakes. Check out our Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, because that's where you get all the information. And for me, I'm Sean, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
aka Geeks.